Good morning and welcome to Southern Cross University's Open Day 2023. Thank you for joining our Arts and Humanities panel. My name is Kimi. I work here as a Future Students Officer and will be your host. This is a 25-minute panel and we'll leave 5 minutes at the end to answer any questions you might have. So today we're here to talk about the benefits of taking arts and humanities here at Southern Cross. And I'm lucky enough to have Erica and David with me. Can I please ask each one of you please to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your connection with Southern Cross University?
Thanks very much. So my name is Erica Karush and I'm the course coordinator of the Bachelor of Arts. I'm a senior lecturer and I also research at the university, and I've been there for about 10 years. One of the things I love about Southern Cross University, I've been connected with big universities like UNSW and also ANU, but one of the things I love about Southern Cross University is its personalised nature, its local connections, and the linking of its Bachelor of Arts to everyday life of people. You know, it's very much not about studying things that, happened 300 years ago, although we do some of that. It's also about making your arts and humanities studies relevant. And I really enjoy being able to do that, show the people that these are living ideas, because that's what I'm really excited about, human values, human ideas, and how we discuss and debate them in our everyday life. But if you, while you're studying a BA, if you ever need support with anything or help with anything, I'm the person you contact.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kimmy. So my name's David Don. I'm the current exhibition projects manager at Hodder Gallery. I've been invited here today as, industry, professional to kind of provide a bit of insight, into my career and my kind of pathway to where I'm currently employed at Hodder. My connection to the university is, more so the partnership between Hodder and Southern Cross University, and I think that's been ongoing for about the past 2 years.
Thank you. Erica, I'll start with you. As we know, the Bachelor of Arts is one of the most flexible degrees that we have on offer. Can you tell us which majors do students have in terms of choices for this degree?
Yes, sure. And I would like to emphasise it's a really wonderful degree if you have particular interests you want to pursue or you want a bit of flexibility in your study. Because you can do one major or two majors. If you do two majors, one of those majors can be a shared major from across the university in whatever you want to pursue. You also have the possibility to do electives as you choose to focus on. But the 5 majors that we do, and you'll do one of these, are first of all, cultural studies. That's what I teach, and it's a terrific major, obviously. But what you'll do in cultural studies is actually look at the culture of your everyday life. So if you have something that you're really passionately interested in, and you want to look at questions of meaning, power, and social justice, then cultural studies is the major for you. You can look at surfing, you can look at fashion, you can look at anime, you can look at how a shopping centre works. It's really wonderful for analysing your everyday power dynamics. We also have a major in social science where you'll learn to analyse social structure of the society around you. It gives you very good, strong skills in understanding the dynamics of the world that you're living in, the population and things like that. We also have history. You probably know that, history is wonderful to study because you don't know where you are until you know how you got here. But I think our history major is fantastic because you also get to learn about how to make history. How do people actually write history? It's not just about, what happened and you learn that off rote. It's actually about, what are the dynamics that give rise to the account of history that you're reading, and how might you write a history of something, say, in your local environment. We also have writing, creative writing as a major. This is a wonderful major with connections to the Byron Writing Festival. You get to learn a range of genres of writing, you know, poetry, short stories. You learn to analyse texts, and you also get to do a unit in editing and publishing, which is tremendously useful. And finally, we have the digital media major, which is wonderful because you both learn how to analyse digital media, but also produce digital media. They have wonderful industry connections, Screen Australia and so on. It really gives you some very important skills in our contemporary environment. We have, screenwriters teaching into that unit, experienced journalists and, music video makers and that kind of thing.
Amazing. It does give us a bit of a snapshot of course selections for the Bachelor of Arts. And David, I wanted to ask you, which degree did you take and where this degree has taken you in terms of your career path?
So I guess most relevant to this discussion, I studied a Bachelor of Fine Arts, honours at QUT in Brisbane. Prior to that, I did industrial design as well as programming and IT, but I guess, leading into the Bachelor of Fine Arts, I kind of tried a lot of things, but I think I landed in the Bachelor of Fine Arts as something that really gave me a lot of focus and felt quite right in terms of being able to, I guess, explore what I kind of already inherently had as a bit of creativity, a creative practice, and kind of, and working in, I guess, small artist-run initiatives prior to that. I guess what the BFA kind of enabled me to do is, I guess, hone my skill in kind of language development, creative writing, and I guess being able to contextualise my own practice, but also I kind of establish really strong networks within the creative industries in Brisbane, which is really important. The creative industries in Australia is a small industry, not in terms, I guess, in numbers, but I guess that industry is quite small in a way that everyone kind of knows each other, I guess, across that. The reason being is that, collaboration is such a key kind of component to the creative industries, and being able to kind of, I guess, foster those strong relationships, develop those kind of, develop those relationships into kind of, bigger, I guess, events or bigger exhibitions or, or less enhance your kind of practice, whatever that may be. The BFA, I guess, effectively enabled me to have a foot in the door when applying for jobs. They look at that, and a prospective employer looks at, I guess, those particular, or that certificate, knowing that you've kind of had that formal training and were able to kind of see through a degree at the end of the day. They may not necessarily look at, I guess, what exactly that you studied in that particular degree, but at least gives them an idea that you have an understanding or less a foundation of, I guess, what it might take to kind of work in a creative industry or a creative organisation or institution, knowing that you have that kind of knowledge and understanding of what a creative practice takes, how to nurture that, and how to kind of facilitate artists or creative practitioners in a professional environment. For me, I've worked across, I've been in this, working professionally for over 10 years, working in festival and events, community development, policy for Brisbane City Council, public art coordinator, major events coordinator. So I've worked in, I guess, private and public kind of sectors, developing those networks and relationships. The university degree gave me, I guess, a really strong sense, or at least strong capability in communicating, and it's not necessarily being able to communicate via email, but also, verbally. But I think what is really paramount, and what really gave me, I guess, a bit of an edge, is being able to kind of talk based on the knowledge that I had through that degree with multiple stakeholders. So, and what I mean by that is working effectively in a public environment. You're working with a lot of different stakeholders, politicians, administrators, managers, community, artistic practitioners, sponsors, So all these particular players and all these stakeholders are really vital to kind of a healthy kind of creative sector. But a lot of those people who you deal with in the public sector are effectively people that you will end up encountering through your professional career. And that might be going for grants or sponsorship or partnership, collaborating. You need to be able to be able to articulate your practice in a way that speaks to how they could understand that practice and and be able to articulate in a way to kind of convey that you really need the support, or you really need, say you need to talk to an engineer to be able to actually unpack and deliver a public art program. But you also need to talk to, say, a politician or a councillor to be able to actually garner support or financial support, or be able to get them to rally around your particular project to deliver it to the wider community. But then you also need to be able to talk to the other artists and other creative practitioners to be able to draw out what they obviously need, develop that narrative behind their particular work. I think the other thing is what the creative industry really do get right above a lot of other industries is working with called communities, so cultural and linguistically diverse, and also First Nations communities, which is really, really important to kind of make sure that those particular stories are really integrated seamlessly and from the beginning of your project, depending on what that may be. So I think through university, I think there's kind of that really core capability through university and through creative institutions and organisations really put that at the forefront by making sure that those relationships are absolutely nurtured and the core of basically what you're trying to do.
Fantastic. That's a great example of what a bachelor degree in arts can take you. So thanks for that. And on the back of that, Erica, can you give us some other examples of what, in terms of job opportunities, the students that are here, potential students, could be applying for when they graduate from the Bachelor of Arts degree?
Yes, I can, and I think you've touched on a lot of the core skills that the BA can give you. And you've talked about it in the context of creative practice, and of course creative writing and media stream has creative practice. In the other streams of our studies, it might be more about research or policy making. But our students end up in some wonderful roles. We have students ending up in different levels of government, local, state and federal. We have students in community positions, in community roles. We've got one student with NGO in Southeast Asia. We have students writing, very popular broadcast television. So there's a real diverse outcome for our students, but their skills, like many Bachelor of Arts graduate skills, are quite well sought after. They're very transferable skills. We will teach you skills of, exactly like you said, communication, written communication, oral communication, communicating to diverse parties. We'll teach you skills of argument and analysis. So how do you evaluate information? How do you come to reach your own view about information that is justified and be able to present an argument for it as well? And you'll also learn about cultural difference. In fact, engaging with the politics of cultural difference is quite important to us in our degree. And I think whatever major that you engage with, you'll learn a lot about engaging with other people, no matter how diverse their background. And of course, any sort of position which requires strong research skills is one that a Bachelor of Arts graduate is really well equipped to study. And just to give another example where you might end up, I studied a BA, and before I came back to the academy, I'd worked as a researcher for the Commonwealth Senate, and I've worked as a researcher for Commonwealth grant agencies. And I was really surprised that in both those environments, they were hiring people with BAs. And in fact, I was really astonished. A lot of the hires were in history. They weren't just in politics or social science. So it can take you to some really remarkable places.
Fantastic. We know that it can be difficult for anyone to select the degree, and I feel like the Bachelor of Arts is, based on everything that we've heard here today, a great option to start with. Dawn, We talked about your career earlier, but how would you say that the skills that you've learned from the degree helped you in your life in general as well?
Thanks, Kimmy. I think it probably goes back to, I guess, communication being, I guess, the core value of almost any industry and any kind of network. I think what the bachelor and what I guess in whole university kind of provides is that, I guess, formal education around communication professionally, but also being able to just have the confidence to, I guess, either walk in a room or a meeting and be able to kind of articulate what you're actually trying to convey, the narrative. So I think, first and foremost, it gave me, I guess, the skill to be able to communicate to multiple stakeholders and the confidence to do so, but also have the knowledge that, I require and be able to kind of draw out the narratives from either artists or the architects or the engineers or the multiple stakeholders that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, and then be able to convey that to multiple different people to be able to deliver the project. My role at HOTA is to be delivering massive exhibitions simultaneously, 3 or 4 at a time at various different stages. So I think that also that kind of structure that university provides, gives you, the tools to be able to balance priorities, from different subjects, and different competing priorities, but also, you've also got a whole lot of other stuff going on outside of university as well. Everyone's got to live their own lives. So I think that's, I think that kind of experience through that kind of formality through university, as well as everything else that you're doing at the time, really gives you a strong foundation to be able to kind of walk into that kind of workplace and really deliver at the end of the day.
Erica, in regards to social media that is so evident these days, everyone is, fully committed to it. Would you say that the digital media major is growing in popularity?
Well, it's a very popular major, and that's because of the, ubiquity of digitalisation in all aspects of our life, no matter what you're doing. But certainly there's 3 units in the digital studies, digital media major. There's a unit in visual communication, there's a digital media unit, and there's also a unit on journalism in the digital age. But we have quite a commitment to the theme of digitisation in our degree. My research is on digitisation, and I look at things like social robots and multisensory computing and algorithmic cultures, examining how, taking sort of ideas from cultural and critical theory to look at how these technologies are reworking our culture and changing the way we think, and developing critical analyses of these technologies. So if you enrol in the BA, you also do something about digitisation as part of your core units. You will touch a little bit about it when we do written communication, but you'll also look at it in a core unit in which you'll look at questions about artificial intelligence and ethics and how social robots work and problems with privacy and data and some of these most urgent questions of our time. And I should say I forgot a major, which is politics and international relations. And I'd like to emphasise that it's a really important major because as obviously many of the problems that we face at the moment are global ones, they're global issues. World politics, there's practical solutions to be pursued, but also, the politics and dynamics involved in resolving some of these big, so-called wicked issues. Well, you'll learn some of the skills you need to understand those in politics and international relations.
Fantastic. We also have very small cohorts for workshops, that helps the students in terms of their learning outcomes and everything. So we always like to say that it's a very important part of studying at Southern Cross University. With Don, a very final last question for you. What advice would you give the students that are looking at the Bachelor of Arts degree right now? There's probably a lot out there, and try not to be cliche as possible, but
For me, I think the best advice I ever got was probably build your skills. The university is going to provide, obviously, what you require just to kind of start off in that industry. For me, starting off was trying to build or at least participate in any kind of, I guess, kind of project. If you're looking to kind of fall into festival events, start off small. Start up event, start an artist-run initiative, volunteer in festival and events, be involved, and build your network within those communities. I think, the arts or the arts sector is so diverse, and I guess there is, like Erica said, your skills are so transferable across so many sectors within that. So I guess being able to present yourself to an employer that above and beyond what you actually learn in that BFA, there is opportunities obviously within that sector that you can kind of get involved in. Reach out to. I think just shoot an email to a prospective employer, even though that you are halfway through on a degree. You have a chat to someone, who works in an organisation that you really want to work with, or an institution that you really want to be a part of, and just sit down with them and have coffee, get a bit of insight into what they kind of feel and how they kind of got there, and maybe that will be able to give you, a better step once you kind of leave university.
Yeah, we have wonderful opportunities to do professional placements in our BA as well, which not all our Bachelor of Arts have. So we've got great regional community engagement, so you really can make connections with people in the degree.
We're now going to ask the audience if anyone has any questions, please.
You were talking about creative writing as one major, and then you talked about screenwriting in a different major?
So she just asked about the different majors, creative arts and...
Yeah, you talked about screenwriting in a different major?
No, screenwriting is part of the creative, might be in the digital media major. Yeah.
So to cover all the areas of creative writing, you'd need to do both majors?
No, you just do creative writing.
But if they want to do screenwriting as well?
I'd have to check.
Thank you, everyone.